Last week on Overtime Arcade, we finished our Sega Frogger restoration project, and in today's episode, we're going to finish another restoration project. That's right, this is the really one and only episode of the BurgerTime restoration. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey Charlie, I didn't know that you got a BurgerTime. What are you talking about? And I'm like, dude, don't you remember I picked up this cabinet I don't know, several weeks ago? This is not your ordinary Bally Midway BurgerTime with the sort of fancy Peter Pepper, cabinet silhouette. This is the really, really strange and bizarre DECO Data East BurgerTime cabinet. And I am really, really excited about this. Like I said, I'm expecting this to be a one and done episode. I'm hoping I can get everything done in a single video, get this cabinet completely put back together, get everything working, and by the end of this video, I'm hoping to play some BurgerTime. So if that sounds like fun, why don't we head out to the garage and get started? Let's go!
Overtime!
All right, the DECO BurgerTime. What a weird cabinet. So basically the first thing I want to do is kind of gut this thing. I want to disassemble it as much as possible, clean it all down and kind of have a nice blank slate to work from. So let me come under here. I want to pull the monitor, pull the control panel, pull this bezel. To pull the control panel off, there are these kind of strange, they're not even really wing nuts, they're like wing bolts. I think I've shown you before. It's like a wing nut mounted onto a bolt. So is that a wing bolt, maybe to call it? And there's just two of these screwed into either side that hold the metal control panel in place. There's also a little slot down at the bottom, like a groove that it fits into. So here we go. And like that's sort of a tight fit. Already disconnected, which is great. I'll put this over here for safekeeping. And I'm guessing the bezel just sort of slides out. Yep, there we go. And we're going to have to rotate this because we're rotating the monitor from horizontal, which is what it was for Rally X, and we're going to make it vertical. And the bezel has all of these cigarette burns, really kind of all over it. And we're going to rotate those up to the top. It originally would have been down below, and people would have rested their cigarettes, lit cigarettes on the control panel. We're going to rotate this up to the top because what was originally at the top is in much better condition. And so when we rotate it like this, it'll be a lot nicer to look at. But I'll put that to the side for now. And let's see, we've got some plexi here. Actually, tinted plexi and a plastic like shroud for the monitor. So we'll put that to the side. And does this come out? Yep. And we have a wooden sort of frame surround for the monitor. Kind of like this, made out of plywood. Interesting kind of beveled cuts in there. But this will rotate as well. So that goes off to the side. We'll take a look at this monitor. Such a strange frame, but I guess it's designed to be rotated. So I'll bring you in here for a closer look. Basically, you see there's mounting points here and here for the horizontal orientation. We'll pull this out and we put it back in. We'll mount it on those four vertical mounting points. This monitor is filthy, but it is working. So, I'll probably just wipe down the front because again, we're doing a quick and dirty, I don't know if you want to call it a restore. This is really like a refurbish and deconversion of this monitor. So, yeah. Okay, back on the tripod, I'm taking a closer look here, and I think it might be easiest to take the whole mounting frame out of the cabinet. The monitor mounts sort of from underneath onto this mounting bracket, and by myself, I don't really want to, undo these mounting bolts here. because the monitor will then want to fall backwards. So I think I'll try to take the whole frame and everything out forwards, rotate it, outside of the cabinet, and then put it back in. But I do need to get to the back of the cabinet into the back of the cabinet to disconnect the monitor. So it's the same key, at least here, for the coin door and the back door, I think. Yep. So we've got that out. Put that out of the way. And disconnecting the power for the monitor. Disconnecting the video cable and the sync. And I don't see an extra additional ground strap, so I'll just tuck in these wires here. And again, this is a working monitor. This is a 4-pot K7000. It's a 19K. No, it's a 4-pot 4900. Excuse me, 19K 4906. I'm just looking around. Yeah, nothing else holding onto the monitor. No weird grounds anywhere. So let's see. Yeah, I think there's just these 4 screws holding the holding that mounting frame in, and it'll want to slide down as soon as I do it. So let's go for it. Let's go for it. Hopefully I don't drop this thing. I mean, I've got extra monitors, but and yeah, I can feel it as soon as this last screw goes, the whole thing's going to want to slide down, so I'm kind of holding it in place. Or maybe it won't slide. Only slid a little bit. Okay. And there it goes. Now it slid all the way down. Can I just sort of muscle it out like this? Carefully. Without necking it. Without scratching anything up. There we go. Oh yeah, this is filthy. But we're really only going to clean off the tube of the monitor. Let me also show you something here that's sort of interesting. On the frame, look at how these original mounting points are bent back. Look at that. It's like that on both sides too. The camera will come around and show you. I don't know, is that factory or is this a replacement monitor? And somebody kind of did this to get it to fit, but you can see how it's mounted from the underside of the mounting frame. So we'll get this spun around. Here we go. And get the tube cleaned off and then rotated so we can play some BurgerTime, which is of course a vertical game in this cabinet. But yeah, it makes it relatively easy to rotate, so that's not bad. Now with the monitor removed, I want to pull out the wiring harness and the power setup and all that stuff. I'm going to do it as carefully as possible because I'm going to reuse a bunch of it, and I also want to preserve the original power assembly for the DECO, just in case, if I'm ever feeling crazy and want to go back to original DECO cassette system hardware, I'll have a good starting point. So just kind of getting the lay of the land here. This is the power, or this is the video. A lot of this it looks like the original harness got hacked up for the conversion from the DECO setup to the Rally X that was in here before. So let me disconnect the coin door wiring. Okay. And I'll probably reuse as much of this as possible. I'm sure I got pins that I can repin these connectors with. So this goes there. This is the, up here there's a little utility panel that has a power switch and a fuse, I think. Yeah, and it even has a gauze button. I think it's called like blank or something. Get this connector disconnected. There we go. So that's that utility panel, and this is the connector for that DeGauss switch. Maybe the original monitor that was in here had a 3 header pin for the DeGauss circuit that allowed you to have a momentary switch button to turn it on and off rather than just have it automatically run when the cabinet is turned on. So this harness is coming apart. This looks like the speaker wire. It must be hardwired in. This is the marquee light power. How am I going to do this? And that gets mounted down there. We'll look up at the speaker and see how these speaker wires are connected. And of course, those speaker wires are soldered in, so I'm going to cut them right here, actually. Yeah, that goes up there. And I made a little label with some painter's tape for speaker. And we'll just stick them on these wires, and we can crimp on a connector for our new JAMA harness that we're going to put in here for the BitKit that we'll be running. So it looks like it goes down to there, and I only see the power circuit now down there. We got this big old isolation transformer that I believe was added later. So let me see if I can remove this power setup. I've done it before when we had a short from a quarter stuck in it, but let me pull this out again. Okay, that should be free to come up. It's still connected. There's still some wires here, but it's no longer mounted to the bottom. We're going to put this back in to keep it with the cabinet, right? I don't want to lose this setup, like I said, in case I ever am crazy enough to try to turn this back into a DECO cassette system. I won't want to have to source that kind of stuff. And let's see what wires need to be disconnected. Power goes in right here. So why don't we do that real quick. All right, power wire, main power cord has been removed from the distribution block. And I'll even put this wire tie back in its proper place. You know, some people will gut these things and just throw everything away, which, yeah, I can't believe people would do that. So the power's removed there, and I think we still have, yeah, the this isolation transformer is still connected. And this ground wire somehow, what a tangle, all tangled up. Okay, I see it, another distribution block with 2 wires right here to remove. Okay. That's the ISO, and this should just pull out. Okay, yeah. So here's the power setup. We have a big old isolation transformer that looks like it produces some other voltages as well. Now the distribution block, line filter. This is a bridge rectifier board with some caps on it. I don't know if there's anything underneath. That's interesting. We've got a fuse and an older switching power supply that does have +5, 2 outputs of +5, a -5, a +12 with this kind of interesting Molex connector. So I kind of like this setup. And the +5 and the +12 are individually adjustable, which is nice. So cool. So we'll figure out a way to sort of safely and securely put this back into the cabinet. Okay, now I can get this power cord out of the way entirely. It's wrapped around the top of the cabinet. That's good. All of this will be saved. Let me pull these. These little brackets here are like Midway style. They look like they've been cut too. for mounting the PCB. There we go. And we'll even reuse these for mounting the BitKit into the cabinet. Okay. And we've got our isolation transformer. I'm almost certain this one's not original. The original is mounted on that power assembly. Okay, and that's the, ooh, heavy. That's that transformer. And is that like a Midway part number, maybe, from older Midway game? I'm not sure. I'm even gonna come around to the front here and see if I can remove this utility panel. Okay. Don't worry, we're gonna save all this stuff, but I'm gutting it just to make it easier to get after everything. Okay, get all that out of the way. Okay, now with all that taken out of the cabinet, I'm gonna give this a nice scrubbing. I'm gonna wipe down the inside, I'm gonna vacuum out the inside, and then clean the inside and out with Simple Green and a microfiber cloth. So why don't I go and knock that out real quick. All right, I've got the empty cabinet on its side now, laying on the ground, because I want to replace the T-molding, which really does wrap all the way around to the bottom of the cabinet. I'm also taking advantage of the fact that the cabinet's on its side and on the ground to replace the leg levelers. So again, this thing is bizarre. I think I showed this in the pickup video. It's supposed to have 2 leg levelers on the back and none on the front. So you only adjust it from the back of the cabinet. It's just this like 3/4 of an inch thick plywood piece, and you can see how chewed up it is a little bit. That sits directly on the ground, and then there's supposed to be some leg levelers right there. The issue is I went to remove the original ones, and they were completely rusted, and the wood was almost kind of rotted out. So I'm going to replace them with not just 2 new leg levelers, but some leg leveler bases as well. So yeah, we'll be doing that. So I'll just come in here and start peeling the T-molding off. This lovely golden T-molding. All right, come all the way around here. And some of it still has, like especially in the bottom, I think I showed this in the pickup, some of the plastic, whoa, protective, it's like almost like cellophane. This is nailed in? No, okay. Protecting the golden finish. All right, coming over here, and there we go. You can see some of that plastic still on there that would have protected this originally. And I've got this really nice replacement T-molding from tmolding.com, like the original. It's sort of clear on the inside, and then it's gold and it has this, in this case, blue protective kind of mask layer. And if we peel this back, if I'm able to do this with one hand, we can see how nice and shiny new gold the T-molding is. Gold. 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 Gold! Okay, all that new beautiful gold T-molding is applied. The cabinet is back upright and on the dolly, so I can come over here and peel off the blue protective mask and unveil this beautiful, beautiful side art. Or not side art, what am I saying? This beautiful T-molding. That's side art. Come on, Charlie. This is kind of cool peeling this off though. All the way down the back. Okay, come on. and I already, I already took it off the bottom part so that I would be able to do this, because the cabinet, like, you know, this T-molding wraps all the way around the bottom, and the bottom of the cabinet sits on that dolly. So, all right, here's the other side. And if I hadn't pulled it off the bottom, it would have been stuck. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, this stuff gets a little sticky here. Come on. All right. I don't think I've ever put anything other than black T-molding on a cabinet before. Either black smooth or the leather texture stuff. This doesn't want to come off. Come on. I did, in this same order with tmolding.com, I got some other you know, color T-molding that I need for another project that I haven't announced yet. But look at that. It's all stuck to my hands. Oh, this blue mask. That looks really nice, doesn't it? Nice and shiny. Yeah, and the cabinet's a little dirty again because it'd been laying on the ground. But yeah, that looks great. Now, also, while you were distracted by all that 24 karat gold, I went ahead and rewired the cabinet. So this is basically what we're looking at. Like I mentioned, as much as possible, I reused you know, the wiring and everything. So I've got the original you know, isolation transformer and switching power supply set up. That's all completely disconnected and installed back in the bottom of the cabinet. There's some wires that are laying on it, but trust me, it is entirely disconnected. I reused the power cord, which I eventually going to have to replace. This is, you know, not that long, but the original power cord comes in. Now let me grab a flashlight real quick. Okay, that's a little bit better. So the original power cord comes in here and then plugs into the EMI filter, the line filter. Most of this stuff, the new stuff that I got from arcadepartsandrepair.com. So I've got these quick connects here that the power from the power cord comes into, and then it comes into the line filter here, which also is acting as a ground point for a bunch of different ground wires that I have to run to various things in the cabinet. And then from the line filter, it goes out into this connector right here. Maybe that's too much light. Into this connector right here that I did reuse from the original harness. This was the one connector that I had to take off of the power setup over here. The only place I cut this was on the power input that was already spliced, so no damage there. And I did steal one connector that I needed to match this connector right here. And so this connector comes from the line filter. So this is our AC input, and this runs up here to the utility panel that has our cabinet fuse, and it has our power switch. It does have that to gauze switch, but I'm not using that because this monitor isn't set up to work with that. So I've got my power switch and my fuse. The line in the hot line, or the hot wire, is the one that's fused, but both the hot and the neutral are switched by that power switch. So power goes in there and then comes back here to this plug, and then comes out back through the same connector over around here onto the front of the new switching power supply, which I can tell right now that you're not going to be able to see that because that's on the front of the cabinet. But I'm kind of using the lugs on the front of this cabinet as my distribution block for the AC voltage, because the AC voltage goes a couple different places. Obviously, it goes in and powers the switching power supply, but then it also has wires, actually these wires here. So I reused this isolation transformer, the one that was added to the cabinet and was hooked up to the monitor that's in here. I believe came from a Tron, actually. You know, the monitor tube has Tron burn, so that makes sense. You know, they harvested stuff out of a Tron to, you know, convert this BurgerTime cabinet to Rally X. So anyway, AC power, sort of using again, the switching power supply lugs as a distribution block. Those wires come in here and power up the isolation transformer. And then these are the wires, the isolated AC voltage that then goes to the the monitor. I redid the splice here. I don't know why they did this, maybe to change the connector at some point. But I soldered these and covered them up with heat shrink tubing, so that's good. Also coming off of the lugs to get AC power is the marquee light, which is right here. So that's all the original connectors for that, no problem. What else do we got going on? So the JAMA harness, and again, we're using a BitKit2 FPGA hardware emulation PCB from CraftyMic. You see it mounted right there, which is a JAMA PCB. So this is a JAMA adapter. And I always get Bob Roberts, I think he calls it the super fully loaded JAMA harness. And that gives us our sort of baseline to get started. So, you know, when you get a JAMA harness like that, basically what you're getting is an edge connector, as you can see it right there, plugged into the BitKit. And then with the fully loaded super one from Bob Roberts, you know, all of the valid, you know, pinout connections for a JAMA harness are populated with a good amount of wire, pretty good quality wire, better than the sort of, you know, Chinese stuff that you get from eBay or whatever. Populated, but it's just bare wire, right? So it's not terminated, there's no connectors or anything. So there's quite a bit of work that you have to do to kind of prep that harness to go into the cabinet. It kind of breaks down into a couple different sections. So let's come in here and take a look. So the first sort of set there is our power. It's basically the power section of our harness. So we have our grounds, we have our +5 volts. These are all input voltages. That flashlight's not helping. Our grounds, our +5 volts, our, what's next? Our -5 volts and our 12 volts. And those are all running you know, to the front, and let's actually spin this around, of the switching power supply. All right, we'll come around here. Maybe this is a better look, and you can see all those wires on the switcher. So those are all the power that's powering the BitKit. Now the BitKit only technically uses 5 volts and 12. I think it uses 12 maybe for sound or something. But the 5 volts, -5 volts is populated anyway. What I also have hooked up to the -5 on the switching power supply are the coin door lights. So originally the coin door lights on this DECO cabinet ran off of 12 volts, but I have 44 and 47 bulbs, which are technically 6-volt bulbs, but those run just fine off of 5 volts. I put 47s in here, which are a little bit dimmer than 44s, but they also use less amps. Because usually switching power supplies like these don't really put much voltage or much amperage, much current on the -5 volt line. You can see right there, there's only 1 amp on the -5 volt line. But that's the only thing that's actually going to draw amperage on the -5 volts. And these bulbs will work just fine. These are 47s, so that's good. There's a little bit of wiring here on the coin door that could be repaired. There's a credit switch right here that I'm sure I'll get rid of at some point. Probably just throw a black carriage bolt onto it to cover it up. These lockout coils have been disabled. It doesn't have the mechanism to open and close. That's fine. I don't really care about that. And I think they've jumped the 2 credit switches. So I don't think right now the cabinet can tell the difference between, or the PCB will be able to tell the difference between the credit 1 and credit 2, or coin 1 and coin 2. So I've only, on that connector, got the coin 1, coin 2, and ground hooked up to that, which is fine. There's all these other wires here, again, for like the lockout switches, lockout coils, and that sort of stuff, but that's all disconnected, no problem. This is the connector for the coin door lights, which has, now it used to have 12 volts, but I've got -5 volts running to it now, and also an earth ground for the metal part of the coin door. So I think, is that everything? Is that everything all wired up? So we can come back here and we'll get you on the tripod. And I think it's time to put that monitor back into the cabinet. And so this is a very subtle change. One other thing that I did off camera was rotate the monitor in the mounting frame. So now we have the mounting bolts on the side and the monitor is vertical. Trying to figure out what the best way to sort of grab this and stick it into the cabinet will be. I guess like this. And here we go. And again, you'll probably notice the Tron burn on this tube. I don't like it resting there. There we go. Okay. It's in. Now, I'm not going to screw it down just because this cabinet is going into the basement, and I don't want to move this thing with the monitor in it. I'm getting older. Not as strong as I used to be, and taking the monitor out and this frame will take some good weight out of the cabinet, but we'll reassemble it in the meantime. I'm trying to figure out how everything went. I think it was kind of like this. Yeah, it'll barely fit like that. Okay. That looks good. That's where it's supposed to be. And we had our shroud. And again, everything's going in vertically now because we have a vertical game. This probably actually could be cleaned a little bit better than I did, but it's fine for now. Okay, we've got our artwork bezel that's going in. Again, I'm rotating this to vertical, and I'm going to rotate the cigarette burns to the top. I also had to move the sort of plastic retainers, or whatever you want to call it, brackets onto the side. So slide this up into place. Yeah, I really need to do a better job cleaning all of this, but I think it'll be okay for now. And this bezel is slightly warped also where the cigarette burns were, but we're not going to let that bother us. So that's looking pretty good. And we've got our control panel. So I've been on a little bit of a journey with this control panel. You know, it's got these scratches and stuff. And technically I can remove this metal control panel overlay. It's just sort of these plastic retainer clips that hold it on. But I'm not going to do that, you know, to repaint everything. Again, we're trying to do this all quick. The big problem I had was with this joystick. So when I did the pickup video, Overtime Arcade channel member Dillweed said, hey, I'm not sure that joystick is original. Looks like it might be a replacement. And oh, by the way, I've got a joystick of the correct type that's actually marked, you know, stamped Deco into the metal. And he was going to do a trade with me. We met up at the warehouse raid that I recently did, and I handed this to him. I removed it from the control panel and handed it to him, but he had forgotten the one to give me, so I said, no problem, just mail it to me. And then he couldn't find it, so he ended up mailing this back to me, so this thing went a little bit of a journey. And the way that it's mounted onto the control panel is sort of bizarre. It's these two screws right here. If you can see from underneath, there's these little, very short, like maybe 5mm riser things on other sides. So sort of see this. This is like welded or tacked on. This little riser, and the screw goes down. There's a very low profile nut that goes in there. So I had to get like a special, like, you know, very thin, low profile crescent wrench to fit in there. And then I broke one of the screws, and it was just a mess. So I'm glad I don't have to worry about this anymore. So this goes in like this. All right. There's a little groove that the bottom grabs onto, and come on. There we go. And let's see, we'll make our connections. I've got a Molex connector right here to attach to the harness. All right, that's on. Good. And I've got a ground connection that I need to make right there. And then I'll put my, I actually got to find them, those wing bolts I was talking about at the beginning. I found one. So let me go screw these in, these wing bolt things on either side, and I'll make that ground connection as well. So I'll go do that real quick. Okay, the control panel's all attached, plugged in, grounded, ready to go. I also took the liberty of connecting the monitor. I plugged in the video and sync connectors and plugged in the power connection. Again, there is not an additional ground, or at least there wasn't one that I found when I opened up the cabinet. We do have one small issue though, and I'm not sure if you've noticed it or not already, but this frame isn't gonna fit in the cabinet mounted vertically. As you can probably see, let me see if I can get the angle right. when I've got this monitor mounted vertically, the frame sticks out of the back of the cabinet. Even a little bit of the chassis itself would hit here. So I've got to figure out what to do about that. I don't want to lose all of this space. This is probably a good 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches of a bubble that I need to would need to add. And here's our coin or a back door right here. That yeah, that's not going to fly. I'm guessing what was originally in this cabinet was a monitor with a vertical frame, which are pretty uncommon. I do technically have one spare one. I'm not 100% sure that it's actually a spare. Maybe that's what I do. Because otherwise, maybe I could do this like a frameless monitor. Take the chassis and like mount it to the inside of the wall, because the neck board is totally good. And I could just mount, I don't know what I'm going to do. Just mount the tube directly onto that mounting bracket. But yeah, don't really love that. One last thing we need to do, and I'll bring you up here a little bit to see this, is we've got to put a new marquee on this thing. So I can't remember if I showed you this when I removed the marquee that was on here, which wasn't even a Rally X. It was a DECO bump and jump that had just been, somebody had painted it, blacked it out. So we need to pull, there's a tray up here that the marquee light and the speaker and whatever are on, that we need to pull out to get access to, installing or removing a marquee. There's should be 4 screws here, but there's only 2 right now in this case, which is fine, no big deal. So we'll remove these right here. We'll put these aside, and we'll turn, and this will now slide out. But to show you what that looks like, I'll turn the cabinet around, and you see the marquee light in there, and the speakers mounted right behind it. And yeah, you can see that. Coming a little bit closer, actually. So there's a groove up here in the wood, and sort of a groove down here. But this tray will slide back, and I guess it's a little dusty back there. And that's where our marquee is going to go. So I do have a reproduction DECO BurgerTime marquee. You can see on the box right here, that sticker. I got it from arcadeartrepro.com, which is actually based in the Netherlands. So let's get it out of the box here. Yeah. This is great. I got some Outrun stuff too that I needed for my Outrun minis. We'll open this up and see what this looks like. Nicely packed, very reasonably priced. You can start to see the artwork emerging. Here we go. All right, Burger Time. And yeah, this is the super crazy artwork, the sort of Japanese style artwork. This looks really, really nice. We'll mount this here. I guess the way the artwork style here is, it is on like translite, a translite thing that's been mounted on plexi. So it's not, I don't think it's direct silk screening onto the plexi, but this is totally good. So I guess we kind of go like this and sort of walk it up into its position. There we go. And now we can slide the tray back into position. There we go. And yeah, it's also strange, like, I don't know if you can quite see that angle. The marquee tilts down. So, I'm a tall guy. If you can see my head, I'm 6'5" when I stand straight up. And this cabinet is a little bit, just barely shorter. So this cabinet is probably at least 6'3", but I mean, it's on the dolly. So this cabinet's easily 6 feet tall. So I guess they assume, kids and teenagers and even most, adults are, shorter than the cabinet. So that marquee tilts down to sort of, show them what's going on. So let me take a second here and screw the tray back together. Okay, the marquee light speaker tray is screwed back into place. I've actually got the cabinet plugged in, ready to go. So I think we're ready to power this up for the first time. We'll expect to see the marquee light get lit up, the coin door lights lit up, and Burger Time playing. on this monitor. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. All right, I hear HV. My wife's pulling into the driveway. Burger time. The marquee light is lit. The coin door lights are lit. Wait a second. Something's not right. Something's not right. I forgot something. That ain't burger time. Look at that. Coin door lights are working. That's good. But that ain't burger time. That's Frogger, because this is the BitKit that I was using to in my my Frogger cabinet before. Oh man, before I had it all. Fix that original Frogger PCB. So let me get this set up for burger time, and we'll come back and play a little bit of actual burger time. All right, guys, check it out. We've got burger time playing on this monitor. Oh man. So I am super excited. I did a couple things actually. I dialed in the geometry on this 4900. It needed to be, the horizontal width coil needed to be adjusted all the way out because it was all the way sort of pulled out, which means it was really narrow. And I adjusted the vertical height, which is obviously horizontal when the monitor's rotated like this. And my Delusionals Arcade mirror came in very handy for adjusting this monitor. Yeah, so I got the monitor dialed in. I also used the BitKit app to update the BIOS of this BitKit2 and update the firmware of this BitKit2, and obviously to load burger time onto the BitKit2. But I didn't just load burger time. If we go into the menu here, and all I need to do that, I'll show you what I do in the control panel here. So you need to hold the 1 and 2 player start buttons down, and then that'll reboot the BitKit, and then you hold down player 1 and that'll go into the menu. I've got it set to boot into burger time, but if I hold 1 and 2 down and then hold player 1 down, or 1 player start down, it will get into the BitKit2 menu that we have here. But like I said, I didn't just load burger time only onto this. Let's go to the beginning here. I loaded 43 games onto this thing. So with the BitKit, this is an awesome FPGA hardware-based emulation JAMA board. Supports lots of different games, over 100 now. And I loaded every game that the BitKit currently supports with a vertical monitor orientation, with a 4-way or 2-way joystick, because this is a 4-way joystick. For an 8-way game, it's not going to work. And games that only require 0 or 1 action buttons. And so we've got 43 games loaded on here. We can step through them really quick. We have Abscam, which I don't think I've ever played before. Amidar, Anteater, which is really kind of fun. Whoops. Astro Fighter, you get sort of a splash screen here. Burger Time, of course. Crazy Kong, which is a weird ripoff of Donkey Kong, sort of quasi-legal bootleg. Crush Roller. Dig Dug, which will be great. Disco number 1, I don't think I've ever played. Eek. Egor. Eyes, which is a really cool Rockola game. Frogger, of course, even though I've already got Frogger downstairs. This will eventually go downstairs once I figure out what to do with the back door, the monitor sort of sticking out of the back. Galaga, I got to change the name so it just says Galaga instead of Galaga Midway. Galaxian. Junior Pac-Man. King and Balloon. Ladybug. Lock and Chase. Mappy, which is awesome. I almost got a Mappy recently. Moon Cresta. Mr. TNT. Ms. Pac-Man. Nibbler. I got to change the name to Nibbler from Nibbler 6. There's a bunch of different ROM sets. This is the one that people use for marathoning. This is Pac-Man and Chomp Chomp, which just says there's not enough room for the whole name to fit there, I guess. Pac and Pal, which I think, isn't that the same as Pac-Man and Chomp Chomp? I'm not sure. Maybe different ROMs. Pac-Man, the original. Pac-Man Plus. Pango, even though I've got Pango downstairs already. Piranha. I almost got a Piranha once. Rootin' Tootin' I've definitely not played before. Satan's Hollow, which is a lot of fun. It'll be weird to play with a regular joystick and not a flight stick. Super Pac-Man. The End, which is not the end of this game list. Titan, I don't think I've ever played Titan before. Tower of Druaga, which is I think more famous as a Famicom game. Triple Punch. Turtles. And Uniwar S. But it's set to boot into BurgerTime. So if I just hold the 1 or 2 player start buttons down, it'll reboot into, hopefully, here we go. Let's see. BurgerTime. All right. So why don't we get nice and close here. I'll turn off the house lights, which is really just the big overhead garage lights. And we'll come in here nice and close. How's that look? That looks all right. Okay, and there's even, this is set on coin drop, and then we do have the credit switch on the front. I can reach in and trigger the, I can put a quarter in, I can trigger the credit switch. But if you hit the 2-player start button twice in rapid succession, it credits you up. That's called the credit cheat in the BitKit2, made by Crafty Mick, who also makes the TPG test pattern generator. I'm a big fan of his. I'm in his Discord too. But why don't we go ahead and get started with some BurgerTime. Whoops. Here we go. Hopefully you can hear the music and it's not too loud. But basically the idea is you need to make these burgers and avoid these enemies who are trying to ruin your day. And generally, there, like that. You want to get them stacked up and following you. Oh, get that ice cream. That'll give me more pepper. That's your only weapon. Your only weapon is pepper, which you can use to briefly stun your enemies. There we go. And if you can get 1 or more enemies on top of your, there we go, on top of your buns or whatever layer of ingredients you're dropping, there we go. It'll go farther. I don't think I'm going to get that ice cream in time. The more ice cream you get, the more pepper you get, and you have a limited supply of that weapon. There we go. There's our burgers. Awesome. I've been waiting to play this. Okay, I think the sound effects might be louder than the music, maybe. I don't think the enemies can change directions on the stairs. I could be wrong, though. If you get them all stacked up, I'm not going to go after that pepper because I got these guys. I will go after that one, though. Oops. Oh, he was smart there not to go after me. Look at that. Okay. I'm concentrating instead of talking. Hope you guys don't mind. Yeah, if you can get all the enemies to kind of stack up and follow you. Oh, I should have hit him with my pepper. I wasn't fast enough on the draw. Yeah, hitting them with pepper will stun them. Like that. There we go. It's your only defense other than dropping ingredients on there. Oh, he got me. Because your whole hitbox is there, even if you're not on the same level. Yeah, why don't we at least get past this board. Here we go. And we'll see if we'll complete this burger. And I think I got them all stacked up right now, which is pretty good. They ran away, though. That was a bunch of them all at once. And I'm down to 1 pepper left, which I don't love. If I can get that coffee in time. Yeah, buddy. There we go. You got to be careful because while those ingredients are falling, you're vulnerable if they get to you. Now we got Mr. Pickle. I feel like I'm in a pickle right now. Oop. Ah, I got stuck. All right. So, yeah, other than that back door, I'm out of pepper. Other than that sort of back door situation with the monitor sticking out, I'm in pretty good shape. This burger time is essentially done, other than that. Oh, man. Oh, I want to get that French fries, but I can't. And I'm gonna get stuck. Yeah, trapped. Not bad. 17,000 is decent. Yeah, so consider the Burger Time project done. I'll figure out what to do with either a bubble on the back door, or maybe I'll get some sort of vertical mounting bracket. Oh, I gotta put my name in. 1. That's so slow. Okay, maybe I need to clean the switches. There we go. CFG. Rub end. There we go. So yeah, we'll figure out what's going on with the back door. And that is super cool. Burger Time in a deco cabinet, running a BitKit with Dell's arcade mirror. So yeah, another project complete. We'll figure out when we're getting this down into the basement. But yeah, I hope you liked it. One and done, my favorite kind of project. And I'm really super excited. I've wanted to have a Burger Time for the longest time. Yeah, you can really see the cigarette burns up there at the top. Let me adjust the camera settings here real quick. Yeah, you can't even really see it unless you look closely. But yeah, I am thrilled. A Burger Time, a really weird one, a deco cabinet. And yeah, this will be great in the lineup in the basement. So if this is your first time at the channel, welcome. This is what we do. We fix old broken arcade machines, bring them back to life, rejoin, enjoy, reminisce the golden age of the arcade in the early 80s. And isn't Burger Time a classic from that? Make sure you subscribe. I release new episodes just like this one basically every weekend. I try to get them out on Sundays. This one's coming out on Monday. Unless you're an Overtime Arcade channel member, and then you get early access to all new videos. So, I mean, this is still Sunday night right now. This video will probably be out for Overtime Arcade channel member early access, maybe hopefully before midnight Sunday night, and then to the public on Mondays. But yeah, subscribe so you don't miss another one of these episodes. Do all the things that I almost said LinkedIn, that the YouTube algorithm wants you to do: like, share, comment. Again, make sure you're subscribed. Do you like Burger Time? Have you ever played the Deco version of Burger Time? Although I think the board set, the ROM set is really a Bally Midway ROMs, but we'll pretend we didn't see that. Have you ever even seen a Deco cabinet in the wild before? And if you want to support the channel, there's a couple ways to do it. You can leave a super thanks down below. It's kind of like a super chat. It's a donation, one-time donation. You highlight your comment. It's like a super chat, but for a regular video, not a live stream. The best way, however, to support the channel, well, other than our merchandise shop where you can buy hats and t-shirts and hoodies and mugs and hats and all kinds of cool stuff like that, the best way to support the channel is by becoming an Overtime Arcade channel member. Basically, you donate $1.99 a month, and in exchange, you get access to some awesome perks. I mentioned early access to all new videos. You get a monthly members-only live stream, which is a ton of fun. It's very different from the podcast and from my public live streams. It's really intimate. We hang out, we chat about stuff, and you're able to join. You're able to participate as a channel member in that. And you get access, the best thing, you get access to our private members-only Discord server. It's like an old-school chat room. It's kind of like Slack if you use Slack for work, except it's fun. We talk about the games that we're restoring, playing, fixing, picking up. We're sharing deals. We're helping each other out. It is a super, super, super positive community. That's something that I really focus on. I would say 99.9% of the time, everyone is happy. Everyone's enjoying everybody else's company. You know, we try to avoid any kind of drama or negativity. And it's never down. Other communities, I love Clav. Clav has drama sometimes. Clav has negativity sometimes. And Clav goes down regularly. And the Discord never goes down. At least I've never caught Discord down. So yeah, if you want to learn more about what it means to become an Overtime Arcade channel member, click that join button down below. It'll tell you what it's all about. You can go ahead and get started there. Unless you're on iPhone, there's a link in the video description on how to sort of do it on iPhone. The easiest way is just to go get on your computer and do it in your computer. You know, Google and YouTube don't really like Apple and iPhone and vice versa. But anyway, I'm sure you can figure out. You're all smart people. And yeah, I think that'll do it. We'll wrap it up right here. As always, I've been Charlie. Thanks for watching Overtime Arcade, and we'll see you next time.
Overtime!